up a bit later on SportsCenter, we'll have a look at...
NASCAR has lost 3 Winston Cup drivers, Alan Kulwicki, Davey Allison, and now Bonnett.
ESPN's Dr. Jerry Punch has known Neil Bonnett for a good many years, and so it's an especially difficult task for Jerry tonight to look back on the life and career of his close friend, Neil Bonnett.
Neil Bonnett's career blossomed quickly from its start in the early 60s on the short tracks of central Alabama. Success came early and often. For 16 years, Bonnett found a way to win in NASCAR's fastest lane. His 18th and final victory occurred in March of 1988 at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. In 1990, a multi-car crash at Darlington would put his career on hold. For 3 years, the healing progressed, but the itch to return never left. In 1993, Neil began to race again, first at Talladega, where his day would end in rather dramatic fashion. Then Atlanta, where he would help closest friend Dale Earnhardt win a 6th NASCAR championship. Soon after, a 6-race schedule was announced for 1994. Suddenly, Bonnett was back, a return that only fellow race drivers could understand.
It is always sad to lose a fellow competitor. But if there's any consolation in this, we know that Neil Bonnett died doing exactly what he wanted to do. A lot of people would wonder, why would he want to get back in a race car again after his injury in 1990? But as a fellow competitor, I can understand, because it's something inside you that drives you, makes you want to race again, and that's what he was attempting to do.
The soft-spoken Southerner was known for his charismatic smile and overwhelming popularity among his peers. For him, family and friends always came first. Neil Bonnett never met a stranger, and never will. For SportsCenter, I'm Jerry Punch.
Class stock car race. Bonnett may have hit a slick spot on the track from oil. Plus, there were very windy conditions, and he was killed as he...
The year, Alan Kulwicki, Davey Allison, and now Neil Bonnett. It used to be a rarity on the NASCAR circuit, but once again, tragedy has struck the world of auto racing. NASCAR veteran Neil Bonnett crashed today during a practice session at Daytona. He was pronounced dead a short time later. Bonnett began his racing career around the short tracks of central Alabama. He enjoyed many successes over his 16-year career, with his last win coming in 1988. But it all came to a tragic end today. The 47-year-old driver lost control in the high-banked fourth turn, hitting the outside wall nearly head-on. Bonnett, suffering from massive head injuries, was removed from the battered car by track safety personnel and transported to nearby Halifax Medical Center.
He did pass away at 1:17 as a result of the massive head injuries sustained in the single-car crash that occurred in turn 4 at approximately 12:45 this afternoon.
When I looked up, his car was pretty straight, and then it whipped sideways real quick. The wind's blowing really strong today, and everybody's complaining about their cars being loose, so you don't know if a gust of wind hit him or if something broke on the car, but it's got to be one of those two.
We will survive. You know, the Allisons, the Bonnetts, racing will survive, but it'll not be the same.
Bonnett's hometown of Hueytown, Alabama, just 7 months after mourning the death of local hero Davey Allison, paid tribute to the loss of another one of their own today. Messages to the Bonnett family were posted all over town and flags flown at half-staff in his memory. Among the many accomplishments of his storied racing career are 18 Winston Cup victories. Neil Bonnett is survived by wife Susan, son.
They say he simply had no chance. Fellow drivers say the problem with Neil's car today was not the car itself, but the wind really blew into Neil Bonnett, causing the fatality.
When I looked up, his car was pretty straight, and then it whipped sideways real quick. The wind's blowing really strong today, and everybody's complaining about their cars being loose, so you don't...
It reminded us of the racing memories that this beach has given us, and of the great men who have competed there and at the Palace of Speed that replaced it. Our friend Neil Bonnett was one of those great drivers. His death yesterday has saddened all of us and left us concerned for his family. We take comfort in knowing that Neil did see the sunrise today, just from a different perspective. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Daytona. We are live here to recap qualifying, but we certainly could not begin our program without some thoughts about Neil Bonnett, who unfortunately lost his life yesterday in a crash during practice for the Daytona 500. I know many of you, in fact I am, we're asking ourselves, why do race drivers continue to do what they do, knowing the dangers involved? Well, two men who certainly know the answer to that are with us as usual tonight, Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons.
Well, Bob, I think it's just something that when we choose to be a race driver, and as we get deeper into it, it's just something that's instilled in us, that we want to drive a race car. And that's Neil Bonnett. That was the number one thing in his life. A lot of people wondered, why would he come back after his accident in 1990 and want to get in a race car again? He knew the risk that could be involved, but that's what he wanted to do. And you have to respect anyone for doing exactly what they want to do. And if there's any consolation in this, we know that Neil did die doing what he wanted to do.
And that's exactly right, because how many people get to do exactly what they want to do? What, 5% of the people? So that's what Neil wanted to do, and you know, can you die happy? No, you can't, but he was happy in the fact that he was once again driving a race car. And I guess the next asked question, how can these guys go out and qualify today after what happened to Neil yesterday? It's what they do. It's how they make their living. It's what they do. And again, you never think it's going to happen to you.
And it's exactly what Neil Bonnett would have wanted. He would want the show to go on. And these fellows just have to put that behind them. And of course, they have to be concentrating 100% on what they're doing out there today. And when they strap themselves in that race car, then that's what their job is at that time. They have to forget everything else.
As we said, we are recapping Busch Pole qualifying here today, but we couldn't come on the air without a few thoughts and reflections about our friend Neil Bonnett. We are going to do our Busch Pole qualifying show in just a few moments. We hope you will stay with us because there was a lot of excitement here today. But for the next few seconds, let us reflect and continue to think about our friend Neil Bonnett.
He was a tremendous ambassador for the sport. For my nickel, he was the best analyst in the history of the game.
They're averaging 150 miles an hour around this place now. That's between 165 and 170 miles an hour going in turn one right here. Very tough. It's like slot cars around this racetrack. There's two 1-mile tracks on the circuit, Rockingham and Dover. This place is 2 seconds faster. Drivers are going to have to stay on top of the race cars or they're going to be in a lot of trouble. The monster just got meaner.
He knew what it was like to go out and run, you know, and lead a race and have a shot at winning a race and lose a race in the last 2 or 3 laps, or to go out and wreck early, or to go out and break a motor and have your hopes be dashed real quick. And he understood that, and you could tell by the questions that he asked the drivers, or when he was in the booth, a commentator would say something and Neil would say, well, maybe the driver's thinking this, or maybe this happened, or maybe that happened. You know, I think he gave the fan a totally different perspective because he had been there before.
He spun, he got the car straightened out, and his left rear tire was flat, and this is the leader's coming. He's wanting to beat him back to the line and not go a lap down. Look, he almost pins Ward Burton on the wall. He's trying so hard to get back on that flat tire, he just turned it right around in front of the field.
He brought a new energy to our whole racing group. It was like that type of an IV in your arm. He just gave us new energy, new excitement.
He's coming down the corner. You see the nose of the car. Gets down under him right there. Payne's coming back down the inside line. It's just a simple case of both guys are trying for the same piece of racetrack. Payne didn't know he was there, and I think Green thought he might give him a little more room there, and they got hung up coming in the corner.
I think he had an uncanny ability to understand. He was fair with everybody, but he told the truth about what he's seen, and I think that's what made him so good.
Look at the car getting loose right down. He's drove down the bottom of the track. That inside line, though, should be the preferred way around this place.
He was a very fierce competitor, but he loved what he was doing. And I've really come to respect him as a broadcaster. I think that he was destined to be the best auto racing analyst in all of motorsports.
Fuel's not going to be the question. It's going to be tire wear today.
He really had a gift for broadcasting and for bringing the race home to you. And he developed that in a career that saw some of the most spectacular victories and some of the most horrific crashes of any driver ever.
February 1983, last lap of the Busch Clash, Bonnett muscles past Darrell Waltrip. The melee ensues behind him. Bonnett comes off turn 4 to be declared the fastest of the fast. Wins the Busch Clash. Charlotte Motor Speedway, May 1983. One of 6 victories for the fabled Wood brothers. Here's another, November 1983 at Atlanta.
Here's Bonnett coming to the inside. 3 wide behind him. Bonnett going to the inside. Dale Yarborough comes through. Baker falls to third.
Baker was a sitting duck, no question about it. He knew it. There was nothing he could do about it other than to try to grab back pass.
All right, keep your eye on number 28, Dale Yarborough, who's qualified for Daytona 500 at 201 miles an hour. He's got 1 shot left. Here they come to the line. Yarborough down the inside. Bonnett throws the block. Give it to Bonnett. 2 years in a row he wins the Clash.
The first driver to ever do.
In Richmond, Bonnett hard into the wall, breaks his neck, doesn't realize it for 2 days. Here at Charlotte, sustains a badly broken leg. But back at Richmond in '88, he scores the first of back-to-back wins for Butch Mock and Bob Rahilly.
Flying apart, that's absorbing energy. But in a situation like Neil was in there, a car stopped right in front of him. He slammed into it. The steering wheel came up in his face, and I'm sure his body slammed into probably into the knees into the dashboard and his head into the roll cage. And that's why Neil Bonnett had the severity of the accident that he had.
Here at Talladega in July of '93, Bonnett goes airborne into the wall. Walked away chuckling about how he did that.
When Bobby Allison was injured in a short track crash at Elko, Minnesota, he brought a young pipe fitter and short track driver from Alabama as his relief to Richmond. Tired of answering questions, the young fella in a borrowed suit put a duct tape over the owner's name and put Neil Who with a question mark. Truly, Neil's benefactor and mentor was Bobby Allison. Ken Squire spoke with him.
You know, he was a friend that was a constant support. And early on, I knew who Neil was, but I didn't know him real well, and he didn't know me real well. But he had been driving some in the late model sportsman stuff around Birmingham, BIR, and Dixie Speedway at the time, I think, was still running a little bit. Of course, Montgomery and Huntsville and so forth. And had been doing reasonably well, but you know, they had the difficulty of keeping the car as first class as they wanted to and that kind of thing. And I guess finally they decided that they couldn't afford to race like they really wanted to. And about that period of time, I was struggling with them dang old Nashes, otherwise known as Matadors. And I was working out in the engine room, and it was like midnight or beyond midnight of the night, going up to the first day of practice at Dover, Delaware, which that was a 24-hour run for us from Uniontown, Alabama to the Dover racetrack. And we weren't quite done. And he's back there, I just want to give you a hand, what do you want me to do? And we're turning a few wrenches. And we had the engine on what we call a 3-legged engine stand. And he went to move it for me and pulled it over, and it fell on him. And I was sure it broke his leg, and you know, I mean, really looked like it hurt him. And he jumped up and apologized for bending my engine up, and you know, stood that engine back up, and wouldn't even allow himself to look to see how bad he was hurt. Now, he was standing back up, so his leg wasn't broken all the way in two, and we both could tell that. But he was really hurting, but he would not allow himself even to look down. And we continued on, got that engine finished up, and got the truck sent on. Then he went home. He wouldn't go to the doctor, wouldn't go like to the emergency room or anything. He went on home. And he went to work that next day. You know, he would work during the day, and then he'd come by the shop and work at night. But that's the kind of constant effort he gave me.
Did he ever change
in those first days when he used to sweep up for you and come in after he finished work, won those Winston Cup races and beat doors with you, did he ever really change?
I never saw him change. It never was anything that I could pick up on or focus on.
You know, watching his hosting the winter show, he had a great knack, I thought, at putting people at ease when he was interviewing them, and could really draw out some interesting comments from his guests. And it was just his demeanor. I think he was just a kind of easygoing, very cool, very friendly, and got a lot of respect for the other drivers, and he respected them. So the sport's going to miss him.
1975, I left Daytona, went back to Alabama, and got my own short track car back together, and I started beating Neil pretty regular. And Bobby wanted to know what in the hell was wrong with Neil's car, and I said it's got the wrong driver in it. And you know, we joked about that, you know, and Neil and I worked together. He went to Nashville one night, I remember in particular, and I told him something to try on his car. Now, I wasn't going that particular race. I had to go race somewhere else, and he went up there and he won the race. And he came back, and I asked him, I said, well, did you tell Bobby what you did? He said, no. He said, if I ever told Bobby what you told me to do, he'd get mad at me. So, you know, it was typical Neil, and he was always cutting up. You know, he was very serious about his racing. But out of the race car, he had an air about him where he was fun to be around. And just like his TV shows and everything, anybody that watched Neil Bonnett on his show or anything pertaining to television and didn't like it, they're crazy.
I guess all I could say, you know, if I ever would want to set myself all over to be like somebody, I'd want to be like Neil Bonnett. You know, he was a close friend, great race driver, never had an enemy in the world, and you know, that's just a tribute to the kind of person Neil Bonnett was.
The charge was made by the media and that it was driver error. How many miles did he drive in Childress cars primping for this 94 Daytona 500?
You know, Neil ran a lot of miles, thousands of miles with us. It wasn't driver error. None of us will probably never know what it was, but it wasn't driver error. Last test here, you know, we were down, had almost 500 miles on the tires, just like we'd want to get in a race situation, and Neil would come in and say, "Was I'm really getting loose off the corner over here, and but I can hang on some more." And you just don't drive a race car in those conditions. Neil was a great race driver. It wasn't driver error.
All those deals you guys made, I mean, you guys made more deals between yourselves. You were always dealing each other. What was one of the best deals you ever made with Bonnett? And it could be for an off-road vehicle, could be for a rifle, it could have, I don't know what it would have been for, but you guys were, he was always up to something with Childress and Earnhardt.
You know, today it's hard to put your finger on one. I guess the greatest deal I made, he was a friend.
But in this garage, those grandstands, and at home, no one was ever a stranger to Neil Bonnett. And perhaps that is the greatest gift he leaves us.
Did you realize that until the winter show on National Network came along, Hueytown was best known for the Hueytown hum? Gives you pause for thought, doesn't it? Just kidding, Bobby, Donnie, Davey, and Hut. Folks, step into my laboratory and let me give you a demonstration of one law of physics that the 1992 Winston Cup champion Alan Kowicki would agree with. When you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not. Now, y'all just think about that. When I say that, I'll be the first one to tell you, standing in front of this camera and not in that race car is not where I want to be. But I'll also be the first one to tell you I don't have any animosity to any driver on a racetrack for an accident. That's racing. You're going to put cars in places they shouldn't be at times. But when you're real careful, you don't win a lot of races. I was already living here in Hueytown. I was working as a pipe fitter and I was racing on the weekend. Then comes Bobby Allison, takes me under his wing, and we all went racing together. The Alabama gang. Me, Bobby, Donnie, and Red, all in a row. We used to love to hear people say it was our genius that made us winners. I'm here to tell you it was because we all stuck together. Hey, wait, hold time out, guys. Wait just a minute. This is my den, my show. You got my sweaters on. You're watching my wrecks and getting a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, Neil. Hey,
Wait a minute. Oh, don't tell me to wait a minute. Strap just stop.
Wait a minute, sit down here.
Whoa, wait a minute. This is mine.
No. Sit down here. Watch this. You ain't believe this. This is good stuff now. We've been watching this for quite a while.
Yeah, but I heard you laughing down here.
No. This is Daytona. You blew up and start finishing line.
You ain't never wrecked.
You slid by. You just missed in this wall. Watch this. Just missed. Ooh. Was that close? You had control of it.
Didn't make that move up there.
That's true. That is. See, this is good stuff.
Sad start this year. The loss of Neil Bonnett in a practice accident here on Friday afternoon. Neil was looking forward to a 6-race schedule this year. He was one of the most popular drivers in NASCAR Winston Cup racing and had become a very popular broadcaster as well. And certainly he will be missed in the sport. Lots going on here at Daytona for the next 10 days. For more on our tribute to Neil Bonnett, let's join Bill Weber in our studios in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Thank you, Ned, and good morning, everyone. It has been a difficult couple of days. We've lost a friend and a colleague. And in a moment, we'll glance into the past to recapture some of the many happy memories Neil Bonnett shared with all of us.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Neil Bonnett brought enthusiasm and energy to the racetrack. He said his desire to get to the front and stay there probably cost him more times than he'd like to admit, but he enjoyed it all. Neil's no longer with us, but we will always have fond memories of his smile and his style.
Neil Bonnett's cheerful smile and pleasant personality were homespun trademarks of this high-riding member of the Alabama gang. For 20 years, he was a part of the Winston Cup racing community, first as a driver, then a broadcaster, and last year returning to the track in Talladega, the site of his first Winston Cup race. Bonnett celebrated 18 Winston Cup wins beginning in Richmond in 1977. His long relationship with the Wood brothers took Neil to victory lane 9 times, including the World 600 at Charlotte in 1982. The following year, in a Raymont Chevy, he flashed across the finish line 0.8 of a second ahead of Richard Petty for back-to-back wins in the 600. He won twice in 83 and 85, and at Rockingham in 86. 1987 was interrupted by a shattered leg suffered in this crash at Charlotte. But in 1988, Neil was Comeback Driver of the Year. He took Hoosier tires to victory lane for the first time with a win at Richmond. His last victory came 2 weeks later at the North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham.
Well, it's almost too much to think about. I've always liked to take things a week at a time, one race at a time. But my goodness, our bunch is stout right now. Our team's running. We're up there in the points thing. We're going to have, if we can maintain this consistency, we'll be a factor all year, I believe.
In 1990, Bonnett sustained severe head injuries in this crash at Darlington. Neil suffered memory loss and underwent long-term physical therapy. When he had this conversation with Randy Pemberton in July of 1990, it appeared his racing career had ended.
I should have had a lot more wins. I probably should have won twice as many races as I won, but I'll be the first one to tell you, if they let me regroup and go back through there again, I'd do it the same way. I had fun doing it. I enjoyed it. My numbers aren't all that great, but I tell you what, nobody had any more fun than I had doing it.
Neil really never left the sport. He moved into broadcasting, winning new fans as a race analyst. And he worked with his 29-year-old son David as he attempted to join the Busch series. Neil patiently massaged his desire to return to racing. Then last year, with doctor approval, he returned to the track after a 3-year absence, qualifying for the Die Hard 500 at Talladega. This year, Neil planned to run a limited schedule. He was excited about the opportunity to climb back behind the wheel and compete again in the sport he loved so much. Neil Bonnett collected 18 Winston Cup wins, 20 poles, and nearly $4 million in career earnings. He leaves behind his wife Susan, his son David, his daughter Kristen, and millions of racing fans and friends who will long remember his soothing smile and Southern charm.
I can't tell the people enough, the fans out there, the cards and the letters. I'm not talking about the Neil Bonnett fans. I might put them in one sack. But I'm talking about the Darrell Walker, the Cale Yarbas, the Pettys, the Allisons that sent letters that we're a Walker fan, but we sure appreciate the effort you made racing. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the fans. You never can pay the fans back on that. They stand on the other side of that fence hanging on, pulling for you, and when you're down, you pull even harder, and I appreciate that.
It has been an emotional 2 days at Daytona, but as we all know, just as it was last summer when we lost Alan Kowicki and Davey Allison, the season must continue, as it will today, when 13 drivers battle in a sprint for cash in the Busch Clash. Randy Pemberton has our pre-race report from the track.
Today's NASCAR News, brought to you by Texaco Havoline. Add more life to your car.
Bill, the first official order of business here for Speed Weeks 1994 took place on Thursday morning. It was there at the annual Busch Clash breakfast that 13 drivers drew for starting positions for the 16th running of the Busch Clash, which will begin shortly after 12 here in Daytona. Busch Beer presented each driver with a present and a position for the $300,000 sprint for last year's pole winners. Kenny Schrader, the pole position king in 1993, picked up where he left off. He'll start from the first spot, and wild card entry P.J. Jones drew the outside front row for the Melling Ford team. The next order of business was qualifying for the Daytona 500 by STP. That got underway on Saturday at 2:30. Only the front row was determined through time trials, and time trials, what an exciting event it was. Loy Allen Jr. grabbed the pole position for the Daytona 500, edging out 1993 Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt by just that much. Loy Allen Jr. turned a lap of 190+ miles per hour to capture the pole. He also won the pole in the ARCA race. 55 drivers took time. They will determine the starting positions for the Gatorade Twin 125s on Thursday. After Loy Allen's qualifying run here at Daytona, we had a chance to talk to him.
We're still in shock about it, but the team really earned it. During testing down here, the car kept getting faster and faster. The guys back at the shop just keep making more and more horsepower, and we got the car really tuned in good. Worked really well with the crew chief on the car and all the people down here with TriStar Motorsports. So we've had a lot of support, and I think that led a lot to this. It seems like the first time we were the new team this year, and also Hooters is back in Winston Cup, and we're really proud to be back in it with them. They really worked hard, and the guys really deserved it.
If you're keeping track of the tire wars, Hoosier wins fight number 1. They were on Loy Allen Jr.'s car when he won the pole position for the 500. Bill, the Busch Clash is always an exciting race, and it plans to be today. Nonetheless, everyone wears heavy hearts down here, thinking and remembering of Neil Bonnett.
Thanks, Randy, a feeling we share with race fans everywhere. Ken Schrader starts on the pole today. He and P.J. Jones make up the front row. Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine are in row 2. And row 3, it's Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. Harry Gann and Rusty Wallace pair up in row 4. Ernie and Kyle are side by side in row 5. Bill Elliott and Bobby Labonte in row 6. And Brett Bodine starts shotgun on the field. In a moment, we'll join Ned Jarrett at the shop of Busch Series driver Ricky Craven, where we taped on Monday of this past week. Funeral services for Neil Bonnett will be at 2 p.m. Monday in Hueytown, Alabama. We will miss him. We already do. Neil.
The Talladega deal just was a freak thing, and that's not going to happen that often.
Moments later, one of NASCAR's most popular drivers suffers a fatal crash coming off turn number 4 at Daytona International Speedway, and the sport once again grieves. Hello, everybody. I'm Pat Patterson, and much of the excitement and anticipation of NASCAR Speed Weeks 94 here in Daytona Beach is missing because of that tragic crash Friday that took the life of our friend and TNN colleague Neil Bonnett. But the show must go on, and more than 60 NASCAR teams are here for the Super Bowl of the popular men the sport has ever known. Here's Tom DeWeese with a look back at Neil.
Some people knew Neil Bonnett as a race car driver, while others knew him as an announcer, but everyone knew him as a friend. On the track, he was one of the most competitive drivers ever to climb behind the wheel of a car. In his 16 years on the Winston Cup Tour, Neil found his way into victory lane 18 times, while at the same time finding his way into the hearts of race fans across the country. As a member of the Alabama gang, the name Neil Bonnett became a part of racing history. When asked once what he saw as his best accomplishment in racing, he replied, being able to drive for the top teams and the people I've associated with. and he associated with some of the biggest names the sport has ever known, driving for his friend Bobby Allison, the Wood brothers, and Junior Johnson. Bonnett's career was filled with success and accomplishment, but it also had its share of pain. In 1990 at Darlington, the Alabama native was in an accident that doctors thought would take him out of the driver's seat forever. But determined to hang on to what he loved so much, he fought back against the odds and rehabilitated himself right back into racing. But during that time, Neil showed he was more than just a driver. He went up into the television booth and shared his knowledge, his experience with the fans, all the time making friends wherever he went. Then last year, he put his microphone down and put the driving gloves back on. He was back where he truly belonged, behind the wheel of a car. But the road back was not an easy one. In his return to Talladega last July, Bonnett was in a terrible crash, and while friends and fans held their breath hoping for the best, he climbed out of the wreckage unscathed. Most men would have walked away, but Neil Bonnett wasn't like most men. He loved to race, and that was what he was going to do. Many questioned why he would return this year on a limited basis, but for him, it never really was a question. He would continue. When asked once what he feared most about racing, he replied, "Not being competitive. My biggest concern in coming back is getting in the car where it runs up front. If I were concerned with getting hurt..."
Speedway. It's one of stock car racing's truly unique events. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Economaki, really excited about this event. It's short, 20 laps, 50 miles. It's fast. The record, 15 minutes and 10 seconds. The slowest one took 16 minutes and 3 seconds. And it's rich, $280,000 in prize money, with the owner able to make up to $70,000. But the most interesting part of it is what's on the track. There's a superstitious 13-car field. The drivers represent 8 national championships. 3 of them have won the Daytona 500. There's 2 inexperienced rookies, a brother act, and one car owner has 2 of his machines in the race. Who does he root for? But despite all of this preamble, there's a sense of sadness throughout the field today because on Friday during noontime practice, Neil Bonnett, one of the top drivers of all time and a man who has won this race twice, and a man who has spent time in our CBS announce booth in recent seasons, crashed to his death. And all of us here at CBS share the grief that his on-track colleagues feel.
This is the kind of race our friend Neil loved best. Take the fastest qualifiers of the whole season. Give them their starting spots out of a hat, line them up, drop the flag, and let's go. Hi, everybody, I'm Mike Joy. This race is a little different. They'll run 10 green flag laps. Cautions won't count. Then throw a halftime yellow flag. The cars can come to pit road and be serviced, and the leader at halftime gets a check for $25,000. Like the Buffalo Bills, nobody's going to remember who's leading at halftime. They will invert the field. The driver who is last at halftime will restart first, and the guy with the $25,000 check goes all the way to the back. And they'll run another 10 green flag laps. The first guy to the checkered flag gets another $45,000 and the glory that goes with it. When we come back, Ken Squire and Ed Jarrett will introduce the starting lineup, and we'll go racing.
The 1994 Busch Clash is sponsored by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Goodyear.
The first half of the 16th annual Busch Clash. The starting lineup for today's race. 2-time winner Ken Schrader on the pole. Rookie, that's B.J. Jones alongside. In row 2, 5-time winner Dale Earnhardt and a former winner Jeff Bodine. For row 3, it's Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. In row 4, Harry Gant, his last appearance in this race, and Rusty Wallace. For row 5, it's Ernie Irvin. He's going to be tough today, and Kyle Petty. In row 6, it's Bill Elliott, a former winner, and rookie Bobby Labonte. Starting out back, it's Brett Bodine. Field coming around the 2.5-mile Daytona track on a day that is as gray as the emotions of most here after the loss of our colleague and friend, Neil Bonnett.
Well, it's been a sad couple of days, Ken, but I guess it's only fitting that we would kick off the 1994 stock car season with a Neil Bonnett type of event. He loved the go-for-broke short type races and no holes barred. He was the first driver to win this race twice. And even though there are a lot of sad hearts on the racetrack and wherever fans are here, if Neil Bonnett could speak to those drivers, he would say, forget the sadness for the moment and go out and give your very best. And I think that's what we can expect of this field.
13 cars are at the ready coming into turn 3. Take a look at the money in the first half. The leader at the end of that first 10 laps, 25 miles, collects $25,000. The overall winner today on that second 10 laps, he'll come up $45,000 richer. Now here you are riding with Mark Martin as he gets set to sail around the 31-degree banking. You're riding with Mark Martin in car number 6. And here you are with Kyle Petty's car from the Felix Avetta stable. And the man who's won it 5 times, Dale Earnhardt, on the inside of that second row. Pate's car is in, and we're ready to go racing the Big D. On the break, Schrader gets the jump.
He does get a good jump on the rookie P.J. Jones on the outside. Here's Ernie Irvin coming down on the inside, making it 3 abreast into turn 1. He clears Harry Dent, 2 abreast now.
The black red numeral number 28 pulling up, and you see Earnhardt in the number 3 closing in on that green and white livery of Ken Schrader. 3 wide laps.
Drafting such an important part of racing here at Daytona. There's Irvin down on the inside again. He picks up Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Rusty Wallace up high, riding a Ford this year for the first time.
Around to complete lap number 1. The 89 and 90 winner, Schrader out in front. Remember a year ago, Earnhardt came from the back and won it overall, won both sections of the race. Jeff Gordon falling back in the number 24. Irvin from 9th to 4th in 1 lap. You're riding with Kyle Petty. They've had some engine problems, new engine in that car just this morning.
Yes, they only were able to check the spark plug to see that they were firing on all 8 cylinders. So he's riding these first couple of laps, hoping that everything's going to be okay. It appears to be. Now he makes the move on the inside of P.J. Jones. That's Kyle Petty making the move going into turn 3.
The number 42 car, Kyle Petty, pulling up, leading that second flock of cars. Over 185, 190 miles an hour, down out of 4. First row across, Schrader in front.
But Earnhardt wants to lead.
He's to the inside, and Mark Martin comes low with him. Gives him a little help.
And that's what he needed, was just a little bit of a push from the draft from behind, and he moved right around Ken Schrader. Of course, it allowed Martin to move up into second.
7.5 laps left in the first half.
Kyle Petty beginning to ramble down on the inside.
Whatever the problems were, they're rectified in car number 42. It shoots down to the bottom.
He was on the pole for last year's Daytona 500. Didn't qualify too well for this year's Daytona 500, but he wants to show that his Pontiac is still fast.
Coming back to the line, Kyle Petty making a run for it here. Pulls himself up into 5th.
The 2 cars at the back of this lead draft are brothers. Jeff Budine in the blue front car, and the green car on Brett Budine.
Earnhardt stays first, Martin in second, Schrader third. Irvin is 4th. Front 4 trying to break away here. Last lap, 191.6.
That's over 1.5 miles an hour, about 1.5 miles an hour faster than the pole position for next Sunday's Daytona 500.
27-year-old Roy Allen out of Raleigh, North Carolina, will lead him down for the 36th Great American Race next Sunday here on CBS. And Earnhardt will be alongside.
P.J. Jones in the blue car. He's gone from the outside pole to the rear. This is his last race in this car. After the Busch flags today, he has resigned as the driver of the milling car. Joe Ruttman will be driving it in the 500.
Big flap with Harry Mullins making the papers. P.J.'s out of that car. Remember, he got it into this race. Last lap at 193 plus. Way over what they've been running here. Tight draft. There you see Earnhardt first. Deployed right behind him is Mark Martin. And then Schrader, followed by Ernie Irvin, the front 4. Just behind him is Kyle Petty, who started 10th.
Irvin wants to move up. Schrader moves up, gives him room. That's Irvin go to 3rd. Schrader will dip back behind him now, pick up the draft.
Halfway in the first half as they come by. Dale Earnhardt who keeps winning this race, but can't win the 500. He says he plans to change that this year in memory of his best friend, Neil Bonnett.
Halfway through this first segment, the first 10 laps.
Jeff Gordon lies 6th, Brent Bodine is back in 7th. Back straightaway. Those top 3 closer together now.
Chevrolet and 2 Fords. Each year you wonder, will a brand name be better than the others? Right now they're pretty equal.
Chevy's won this race 9 times. Olds a couple, Buick a couple. Ford only twice. 87 and 92. Back in 92 with Jeff Bodine. 4 laps to go. Who will be our leader at the end of the first half? $25,000 at stake there. Earnhardt attempting to duplicate what he did 1 year back. And remember, in 91 he pulled it off as well. Mark Martin at work. Martin riding in 2nd spot in that car number 6.
Urban looked to the outside for a moment there, Ken, but decided to tuck back in behind Mark Martin. He's maybe getting a little bit anxious. Just 3 laps to go when they come back this time until they'll get that little break in the middle of this race.
Sock drive safer in the first half than he would in the second, Ned?
I don't know. You know, they're feeling their cars out right now to know what they can do and what adjustments they might need to make during this little break we'll have here in a few moments. But I think they want to go for the win. They're racers and they want to win a race. It doesn't matter what the money is or anything else. They just want to win a race, and that's what Ernie Irvin is looking. He wants to try to get up there. Now,
a comment from Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip with us today.
The 81 Clash winners joined us up on the roof. Ernie made the first big move. Dale, the second one. I was going to say, what's next? Is this it?
Yeah, well, I just say to all those guys, don't wait till the last lap. Let's get something going here. Let's do a little racing. They're all scared to get up there and race with Earnhardt because he's won this thing so many times. They need to stick it in there and go.
Did anybody get him?
I think that 28 car's fixing to answer that question.
Martin stuck it in there, and he's going.
Boy, he did. That was close quarters when he came off of turn 4. Here we are again. Kyle Petty down on the inside. He leaves Mark plenty of room up on the outside, but Kyle makes the pass. And here comes Jeff Gordon. The car number 6, so Mark Martin caught up on the outside, and the draft goes by on the inside. Ooh, look at Gordon gets a little bit skirmish there as he went around.
Kyle goes into 3rd spot. Here's the battle up in front. As they qualified yesterday, Loy Allen, a rookie, is on the pole for the first time. Earnhardt will start outside in the 2nd row in the 500 for the 2nd time in his career. And that car of Robert Gates with Ernie Irvin, his 3rd fastest qualifier. Getting down to halfway. It's a move to the inside by the number 28.
This is the final lap until they get that halfway mark.
Ernie Irvin, fake for the inside, pull back, stays the draft. Back up over 190 miles per hour. Earnhardt, the master, the 6-time Winston Cup champion, challenged by California's Ernie Irvin and the Robert Gates, number 28.
Saw Irvin with his new baby in church there this morning. Now, he'd like to buy some nice presents. Picked up his $25,000 here today. But can he do it? Time's running out on him. He's got to move quick. I don't think he can do it.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty lies 3rd, and Jeff Gordon has come up into 4th. Halfway, shown on the field. And the halftime leader as they come across. Earnhardt wins it. Ernie Irvin in 2nd, Kyle Petty in 3rd. And they'll have to come from the rear in the 2nd half. We'll be back with it in a moment.
Sure, you've got a car. Got a dog. Even got some fun-loving friends. But have you got what it takes to be a mountain man? All it really takes are the 2 cool beers of the mountain man. Smooth Busch beer and easy drinking Busch Light. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
We're back with an Aqua Tread for performance sedans. Introducing the new Eagle Aqua Tread. Two Aqua channels move water away for outstanding wet traction and performance. The new Eagle Aqua Tread, only from Goodyear.
Remember those old dirt tracks, AJ? The dirt would just eat up the engines.
Two champions sharing a winning formula. Haviland Formula 3.
My favorite win was going to be in '69. I had to give it to you. You shouldn't have even made a half a lap.
Complete professionals who rely on the same complete protection you can buy right off the shelf. Haviland Formula 3 motor oil from Texaco.
Heck, I still feel if I can't win, I don't want nobody to win. I'll try to remember that, AJ. Do that.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast. We're back with an Aqua Tread for performance sedans. Introducing the new Eagle Aqua Tread. Two Aqua channels move water away for outstanding wet traction and performance. The new Eagle Aqua Tread, only from Goodyear.
You're looking in on the second half of the Busch Clash for 94 from the Bud One Airship Aerial Ambassador, the King of Beers, proud to provide you these aerial shots of the Busch Clash. Inverted start, and here's how they're going to go. Up front, it'll be Bobby Labonte and P.J. Jones. In row 2 now, it's Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace. For row 3, Harry Gant and Jeff Bodine. In row 4, it's Brett Bodine and Ken Schrader. Row 5 is Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. In row 6, it's Kyle Petty and Ernie Irvin. And out back will be Dale Earnhardt, who won that first race in $25,000. A quick report from Mike Joy.
Everyone got tires except Bill Elliott, some minor chassis changes, and Darrell Waltrip. Dale Earnhardt wanted more rear spoiler. Why?
Well, that's pretty smart, really. It's so he can work the traffic a little bit better. The car will be a little more stable for him until he gets to the front.
Good news is he won $25,000. Bad news is he's out back, but that's where he wants to be. As they kick him back in gear and head down to the final 10 laps, $45,000 at stake. DW, man to watch is this number 3 Earnhardt, I would say. There is Earnhardt up on the outside. Darrell, why is it that Earnhardt, even on this first lap of this 10-lap race, is the man you want to watch?
Well, when they dropped the green flag, that's what everybody saw but Dale. He saw the white flag. He drives every lap in this race like it's the last one. The rest of these guys go in the first turn and go, excuse me, let me in here. Oh, I'll back off a little for you. Not Dale Earnhardt.
3 wide on the outside. Earnhardt pressed against the wall. Coming down with Bill Elliott out in front. Harry Gant deployed in second.
Everybody trying to pick up the draft of Bill Elliott. He's the man out front. Earnhardt sort of boxed in down on the inside now, Ken.
Look at that move. Ernie Irvin fighting his way up through now. Finds himself in 5th. Bodine is 4th. Mark Martin is in 3rd. Look at this skirmish. Back straight away. Ernie Irvin is on the move in the black number 28.
Well, he has really come to the front. We talk about Earnhardt coming from the back of the pack to the front. He came from 12th and now running in 2nd place and a lap and a half.
Ernie Irvin and Robert Yates 4 closing down on Mark Martin. It's 4. 1, 2, 3 at the present time. Martin, Irvin, and Elliott back to the line.
Mark Martin was strong in that first one. He got caught out of the draft a little bit. They put him on the high side of the track. Got him back in the field a little bit, but looks strong right now.
Brett Bodine is back there in 4th, so 4 points across the front. And Earnhardt from the rear up to 5th.
Earnhardt looking on the outside of Brett Bodine.
The winner of the Busch Clash will be noted from this event and $45,000 on the end of this 10-lap run.
Of course, that'll be added to what they got in the first race, so it can add up pretty good. There's Earnhardt going up on the outside. Jeff Gordon in the multicolored number 24 coming with him up on the outside. There's Jeff Bodine. Made some major repairs on his car during this stop. Ooh! Jeff Gordon and Brett Bodine get together a little bit, but they gather them back in.
Earnhardt up to 4th. Jeff Gordon goes into 5th with the number 24, and the number 7 of the 92 winner, Jeff Bodine, back just behind them. up over 190 miles per hour as you ride with Kyle Petty. Kyle holding on to the 7th position. Trying to close in on Brett Bodine up there in front of him in the long 3,000-foot back straightaway of Daytona. Next Sunday for the 500, here's Ernie Irvin to the inside. And that's a move you'll see him do regularly at Robert E.H. Carr, right down the bottom, rock solid.
Roll away just a little bit from Mark Martin. That's not quite as far as it looked there, but here's Earnhardt now, passing Elliott. Jeff Gordon riding on the tail of Earnhardt, coming right on up through the pack.
Earnhardt in the 3rd.
Gordon spent a lot of time riding on the tail of Earnhardt during the Daytona 500 last year.
Earnhardt going for 2nd. The black number 3 down to the inside. Mark Martin deployed outside.
Okay, Earnhardt now moving into 2nd as they go into turn 3. Ernie Irvin moved into 2nd pretty early in that other race, but couldn't pass Earnhardt because Earnhardt hadn't cleared Mark Martin yet. But if he does get up there to 2nd, which it looks like he will, then will he be able to pass Irvin? Irvin didn't pass him.
Coming down, 3-car, 4-car draft on the bottom. Advantage, Earnhardt, he really pulls up. Mark Martin fading back, Brett Bodine underneath him.
Mark Martin caught up there exactly like he was in the last race. Nothing you can do about it.
Battle for the lead.
There are Chevrolets trying to team up and move around the board. Earnhardt in a Chevrolet and Jeff Gordon in a Chevrolet.
Earnhardt to the inside. That Richard Childress car always works strong anywhere that Earnhardt wants to put it here at Daytona. When he has seen Jake Starcross to win the 500, he intends to rectify that next Sunday, and you'll watch it live on CBS, the Great American Race.
Brett Bodine hanging in there in 4th place, looking much stronger in this 10-lapper than he did in the first 10-lapper, because this is where the bigger money is.
Irvin stays 1st, Earnhardt 2nd, Gordon 3rd as they come back to the line. And it's Brett Bodine 4th, Bill Elliott 5th, Mark Martin 6th, Kyle Petty 7th, Rusty Wallace 8th, Schrader back there in 9th.
Ernie Irvin's got to be wondering, okay, Earnhardt came up through there pretty quickly, 2. Irvin got there 1st, but does he have anything left? Is he going to sit there and wait until the last lap, the next to the last lap? When will it be, or will he go ahead and try to make his move before then?
No gold medals here, just all cold cash. And a preview of 42 cars next Sunday settling in for the 500.
There's 6 cars in this lead draft. They've broken away from Kyle Petty, who is in 7th place.
4 Fords, 2 Chevys up here in this first group. Darrell Waltrip, you want to be 1st or 2nd right now?
Well, I tell you right now, I think Dale's just playing the cat and mouse game. He's sitting there. I believe old Ernie's in big trouble, and I think he probably knows it. So we'll see what happens. I believe Dale will get him on the last lap.
Darrell, what about Jeff Gordon? He followed Dale just like this in the closing laps of last year's 500. Did he learn enough to beat him here?
He likes Dale better than he does Ernie.
Jeff Gordon, number 24, the rookie, who finished 5th in the 500 a year ago, closes in on Earnhardt. And the Kenny Bernstein car, number 26, Brett Bodine, looking very good out here in 4th.
Well, Brett knows he has got to pass at least one more car before he has a shot.
Earnhardt to the inside.
Earnhardt making his move earlier than we thought he might.
Irvin trying to counter. Not much you can do right there.
But look, Gordon's up there following the board. He wants to, well, maybe now he pulls down to the inside, going to give Earnhardt a little bit of help. It looked like for a moment he's going to help Ernie, but now he gets there. Now he wants to take the lead. Now he might be in position to do it.
3 wide in the back straightaway.
Ooh, they're close together, but Jeff Gordon makes the pass. Good move. Here comes Brett Bodine. He'll follow Gordon into 2nd.
Shocker here. Gordon going into 1st, Brett Bodine to 2nd. And relegated back to 3rd, and Earnhardt's car looks squirrely going into 3 that time.
Getting mixed up in the air that comes off of the cars there just in that particular part of the racetrack.
White flag is out. They touch at 190 miles per hour. Jeff Gordon, no rookie anymore. Stays out in front. Brett Bodine in 2nd. Earnhardt doing a masterful job picking that car up in control. Remember, they're floating like feathers at 190 miles an hour around this racetrack.
But Ernie, Ken, Dale Earnhardt has to be wondering if he made his move a little bit too early.
Here he comes back one more time.
Moves to the inside, looked down there for Red Bud and said, no, that's my spot. Oh, Earnhardt is very loose. Goes high on the racetrack. He gathers it back in. That cost him no chance to catch up with them now as they come for the checkered flag.
Down the stretch for the final time. Jeff Gordon in front. Brett Woodard's going to make a shot. Short. Jeff Gordon in the Rick Hendrick Chevrolet has defeated Ernie Irvin, has defeated Mark Martin and Earnhardt.
How to identify the mountain man. Should be easy. I mean, doesn't a mountain man only live in really cold climates? Always go to bed when the sun sets? Wear a cowboy hat at all times? Actually, the easiest way to identify a mountain man is by his beer. Smooth Busch beer, or easy drinking Busch Light, the two cool beers of the mountain man. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
Staying ahead of the game. It's what we all strive to do. Whether we're building our lives, building our futures, or building trucks. At Ford, staying ahead means the most powerful diesel pickup engine ever. The new Power Stroke Turbo Diesel. It means giving you the comfort of a new standard airbag. And it means realizing it's the hard work that offers the sweetest rewards. Ford F-Series. The best never rest.
22-year-old Jeff Gordon becomes the 10th different winner in the 16 years of the Busch Clash. And next Sunday, he'll be carrying a CBS camera as he goes in quest of the great American race. Hope you'll be with us for that event here, which will have Loy Allen Jr. on the pole, a rookie, and Dale Earnhardt looking for his first 500 winner. Be with us. Stay tuned for CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the 17th Olympic Winter Games.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1994 Daytona Speed Weeks is dedicated in loving memory to our colleagues Jack Foster